Calvin T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
What up, dog? What's happening? What's popping? What's good? My God. It's good. That's what's good. Fraggle. So, of course, it is Monday afternoon. It is your Put Your Family First podcast. The chair is empty. See, we can pull her in. And just wondering how long is it going to take her to get back to the seat. I guess we can go 5, 4, 3, 2.
Is that enough? 3?
1. Yeah, she made it, right? So just looking to kick this off. The Rose is up to something today. I was just brought in. I have no clue. I'm telling y'all, sometime I have no clue. Like, I'm not even warned, told, asked. I'm telling you, boy, a lot of you men understand what it's like being bullied.
It is not bullying. Well, first, I want to start today. Not by the repeating screen, but to start today with talking about the podcast, the Podskers that took place on Friday, and the amazing job that the Podcastic team did, and just making sure that we publicly thank our engineer, Miss Monique, for all her support of our show. And who worked with us before was L. Boog. So he was our engineer at the start of our Put Your Family First podcast. So special thank you to him and all of the effort of the team. And Miles stepped in early in the game as well. Seemed like we have another engineer too somewhere in there. Who was it?
Girl boy did it a couple times.
Yeah, she sure did. So so thank you to all of the engineering team of Podcastic and all of the amazing talent that is just moving around this space. It's just amazing to see people in their element and to do and create and to become just more amazing as they go and learn and grow and share. So I just wanted to make sure that at least we started the conversation with that and acknowledgement of our amazing award that we won. We didn't even know we were nominated. So to actually be nominated in 2 categories and then to actually win, we were sitting up there. It was just such a shock. It was such a beautiful shock and an honor to be considered. I think our category was inspirational and personal development podcast. So to be able to have that honor was just amazing for us. And we hope that in our words and where we show up on these Mondays, that we're showing up to bring information that's relevant, important, and not necessarily a traditional way to deliver information, but to share it nonetheless as it's given to us. So thank you again for everybody that came out, everybody that contributed to making that event beautiful. I mean, visually it was beautiful. You could tell that there was heart that was put into that event. The decorations, the awards, the atmosphere that was created, it was very much high end. So thank you for that. So I want to open up today, and our topic is around dreams, whether you're asleep or awake, have meaning. And this kind of comes off of a I actually had a nightmare about 2 weeks ago that it took me a minute to interpret it for myself. So one of my gifts is the ability to interpret dreams and to give insight based on what the dream might reveal to others. And so it's one of those unique pieces that make up who we are. And a lot of us have, multiple gifts. And so this is actually one of mine. And to be able to help people to understand or be guided by that information is really important as well. I just need Calvin to focus and be present right now because he is in the midst of kind of what we're talking about, some of the things that inspired him. His dream is present on the screen that he's looking at right now. So I hope he'll chime back in with us, catch back up with us. So
you'd have missed everything I tried to get you to see. Bumping. Pay attention. Look.
No. You present in this space. I see it.
That's what you wanted.
Yes, it is. But right. Stay with me.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you are somewhere. You are deep in the conversation that we're about to
Once
have.
Once again, it's on.
Deep in the conversation that we're about to have about dreams and how they have meaning. So just I'm not going to give you the details of my nightmare, but I will tell you this. Once I was able to step back because of the shocking nature of the dream. Once I was able to step back, I was able to process my understanding and process the insights. And I know that I'm not the only one, that when you have these awakening dreams, those things that have messages for you, those things that you either need to work on, work through, consider, reflect on, these are the things that we're going to talk about today. But that particular dream helped me to see that I needed to move faster. I need to move with urgency. And there are some important things that, one, women need to know about raising our children, about how we stand in relationships. Like, it was very, very much urgent. And as a result of that dream, I acted on another piece of what I have been working on, my vision of having a women's summit in November. So I went to schedule that women's summit. It is November 17th. There will be lots of information floating around about it because it's limited seating, but it's in one of the most beautiful spaces outside of Avalon, which is Avalon Healing Center, which we've done a few of my workshops there. This is going to be at Huntington Tower downtown. And they have a beautiful space where you can see across the skyline of the city of Detroit and right down into Tiger Stadium. So I know it's going to be hard to have people stay focused during that summit because it's such a beautiful sight to see when you're connecting in that space at that level, that elevation. But it's going to be amazing for the women who are going to attend. So we have a capacity of 75 women, and we're going to keep doing these summits until enough of us are involved in this process and are a part of this awakening vision that I've been given, and how we do our part in restoring families and how we restore our own wholeness as women. And so it's going to be a lot of information, very, very much insightful. And if you're interested in doing self-work, doing the work of self, that means, filling those holes that we have and becoming whole, this would definitely be the space that you want to be in. So I'm just giving you an example of how our dreams can have meaning, whether we're awake or asleep. So when we talk about dreaming in our awakened state, we call it visions. We call it prophecy. We call it, what are some of the other things that people call dreams, Calvin?
Visions.
Yeah, we got that one.
Connection to your souls. Sight.
Right. Okay, I'll go with that.
Deeper spiritual reflections.
Oh, this is the one. It was daydreaming. Daydreaming? Yeah.
Daydreaming, I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming, I'm thinking of you.
That's one of my favorites. You were teasing about that one. Okay, so one of the reasons, now I believe that whether you're asleep or awake, that our dreams have meaning. So it may not be outwardly what you interpret when you see it or when you're experiencing it. It actually could be something deeper than that. It actually could be a representation of something or a place or a time in the past, present, or future, which we'll talk about that in a minute too. But these are different ways that it can be expressed. But some people say that they don't dream at all. And so the psychologists and the scientists and those who study dreams say that even if you don't remember the dream, that they believe that most people are dreaming in some form, or whether it's that awakening dream that we were talking about, whether it's the prophetic dream that we were talking about, whether it's the vision that we were talking about, or what happens when you're asleep. And so I think it's really important that even in dreaming that we write down those dreams, so that if it doesn't have meaning for you right now, it may come to that understanding and that deeper meaning as you continue to navigate, your daily, day-to-day life and what happens in the course of your day. And so we're going to start off this first type of dreaming with vision. And Calvin has one that has been given to him. And so we're going to ask him to share a little bit about the vision that he was given.
Which one? I got so many of them. I see Donald's ducks and things.
Did you say Donald Duck?
Yeah. I saw him one time. I was shooting dice in a dream, and Donald Duck come by.
Was he winning?
No, I was winning. I'm always winning, right? So Donald Duck he lost. He lost his shirt. So he was just another ordinary duck, right? If that helped you out.
Well, we're actually talking about visions.
Okay.
Like having a vision, like a goal, a life goal, or life plan in terms of vision.
So I am actually living the vision that was given to me in 1992. And through that process, it started with a question. A lot of times people ignore what God has for them. Mine was a question. I still cannot understand how we use a word that was meant to destroy us, and we still use it in a context, right? So, the Bible says if you take something negative and make it positive, it'll never leave your house. Proverbs 17:13, right? We took a word, used it, right? And of course, there's a deeper meaning, the correct word that for that word. But the problem is that you don't use that word. You use the one that was created for your demise. You don't use the negus word, right? The word that come from another country, come from where we come from. And I want to be clear that not all of us came on a ship. Some of us was already here building things, making things, the whole nine. You got to stop letting other people tell your history. And so for me, that was a process. But my vision then led, I asked, why do we call each other that name, right? And so then, of course...
And what name are we speaking?
The N-word, right?
The N-word, okay.
Right? And so I took a part-time gig on Mondays and Wednesdays from cutting hair in an all-white daycare to learn, okay, let me see what's the difference in how we raise our kids. And I was young. Here I am, a young father, the whole nine. But then God gave me these words, encouraging me I'm young. And then that process, we're here now, right? Many, many moons later. It went from the door blowing open to the words to manifesting this full-blown vision. And many, many times people have an opinion because people see success a certain way, right? What is success, right? To a lot of people, it's materialism. But we learned Saturday that's intellectual slavery. Come on now. My brother was preaching Saturday.
Who was that?
Dr. Jordan Brett.
Oh, okay.
The young brother was coming with that smoke at the Man to Man Youth Summit. And I want to take a second to point out to all you parents that signed up, right? This is the point that I need to make. There were a lot of you mothers who reached out and asked, could your son be a part of this? There are a lot of you mothers who reached out and said you wanted your sons to be in a mentoring program. And I'm going to tell you, and you might not like this, and she probably don't want me to say this, but I got to say it because it's who I am. You're harming your child by listening to him make the adult decision in your house. A child should not be making an adult decision for what is good for them. Too many times we hand our boys the keys to failure inside of the home, right? A lot of boys didn't show up. I even got a text yesterday that blew my mind. Parental exhaustion. Then I go, we just had Oscars, Man Youth Summit, and we at the mentoring program. Did you get a text from us that said parental exhaustion, we not having a mentoring program today? Right? This is part of how we destroy our children. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. Then we can have this conversation anytime. Anybody want to, argue, push back, play those games all you want to. You don't do it for your daughter. You make sure she there. That boy, we are really, really bad with our sons. And so I want to get that off my chest. Back to the vision. The vision of seeing something and then manifesting it is success. When God hands you something to do, it is in a vision. Then you apply it to a piece of paper. Then it's on paper. Then it is in your words and in your spirit and in your mouth and in your information. So you then begin to manifest it, speaking it. My vision is present, is live, and it's very successful. Might not look like it's, to you or to those who have intellectual slavery. I'm very proud of my contribution through this vision to the lives of thousands of people of all cultures. Of course, my own culture as well. So I'm just blessed, and that's my vision. I mean, but there are some other visions I've been handed along the way, like Good Fathers Only, manifestation. Right? So, I don't know what you're looking for, but it's right here.
Well, and people who birth ideas, whether the idea is a business, that's a vision. People who always wanted a podcast. We met a lot of them on Friday who birthed that idea, and a lot of people shared that they had the support, after they had the vision and the desire to share the thoughts and the information that they had. They wanted to be able to share it publicly. They wanted to be able to help people shape their ideas and shape their hope in ways that were inspirational, in ways that were helpful and productive. And so they created their podcast based on that. And we learned a lot more about people who do that. That's what I'm talking about when I speak of this level of vision. Taking the idea wherever that came from. Some people say, I dreamed about this moment. I dreamed about the moment where I'd be recognized as part of a community of a positive voice. Whether it's, in the terms of acting, or whether it's in the terms of a performer or entertainer or an inventor, for that matter, for a business owner, for a movie, all of these different ways that people have vision, and to make that vision a reality. It's such an important piece of our culture. We are creative people. We were born to create. We were born to build. We were born to elevate. We were born to, bring peace and understanding and beauty into this world. We were born for that purpose. And everybody has a piece of that bigger vision of what our community can look like, what our families can look like, what we can look like. We're all a part of that same vision. Now, when you think vision, one of the opportunities that we have as an individual is we can hold the intention for somebody's vision, including our own. When we hold the intention for a vision, that means that we believe also that it can come to pass. And a lot of people are supporters of other people's visions and dreams. That's one of the reasons that parents have that opportunity. Parents have an opportunity to hold the vision for their children. We have the opportunity to help guide them to manifest that vision for their lives. We have, and a lot of athletes talk about this too, that what they talked about being when they were younger. I always wanted to play basketball, and now I'm a professional athlete. Somebody had to hold that vision for them. They weren't the only ones holding that vision for themselves, because when it gets hard, sometimes it's hard to hold a vision. And so maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a friend, somebody who could hold that vision for you and see the potential in you, and then hold that idea and always see you manifesting that idea. That's how we can hold the vision for each other. And I think that's a really important part of what we can do as a community, as a family, and as an individual. We also like to look at how we hold that intention as a prayer. So you may hold that intention or that idea as a prayer for somebody. Another important way that we can hold and support each other's dreams. So the next one is increasing imagination, and how imagination plays into that dream world, that dream realm as well. So I like to think that I have an incredible imagination. And I grew up that way, but it was a space that my parents created in our household. I had an older brother who was when my parents weren't there, he was with us, and he had an incredible imagination. He did things like, we used to make, I don't know if you guys did this in your homes growing up, we used to make sleds in the house on the steps. Oh, yeah. We used to use the quilts or the blankets on your bed, put some cardboard in it so your behind wouldn't get so beat up going down the steps, but slide down the steps, and it just seemed like a roller coaster. He just made it seem so much fun. And as he created these new ideas, he used to create, he used to take some string, of course we had the Army man. He used to take some string, a paper clip, hook the Army man on the paper clip, have a piece of string coming from upstairs around the corner from the stairs and down the stairs, and the Army man would just slide all the way down the steps, around the corner and downstairs and into the living room. Now, who designs like that? And so, I mean, just that level of imagination to use angles and to use the things that we had already available. We had lots of thread and string. We had lots of paper clips. And so having that as a way to create fun in a way that is kind of unexpected, because, I never thought of using the Army man like that. You just normally sit them, because they had a stand. You guys remember the green Army men? On the base of them, they was just flat, so they would stand up. So
25 cent a piece.
Oh, we got a pack of them.
Yeah.
It came in a pack, right? And so being able to use imagination to create fun and excitement, but I didn't realize that was geometry he was actually using. He had to be able to get the right angles to get. So the way that our steps were coming from downstairs, you had to go this way, then down to the landing. And then you had to go down the steps, and in order for him to get that curve to get them to go in the living room, like this was entertainment for us. We would look forward to sitting in the living room and watching him have all these Army men fly down around a corner. Like, that was amazing. But that's geometry, and that came naturally to him. And so doing things like that, creating go-karts, that's vision. That's imagination. I mean, creating go-karts out of milk crates. We had milk crates in abundance because it was a store at the corner. And so we'd take the milk crates from behind the store, and we would create things, castles and, basketball rims and all kind of things just out of the milk crates. And so, that's imagination. That's taking the vision. Those are things that were already in us at that time. To create something new, to create fun for ourselves. It wasn't that, there were limitations. We didn't have a lot of limitations. When somebody set out to do something, everybody kind of pitched in. It was always the brainchild of the idea, like the one that held the vision for how we're going to do this. That's important. That's part of that imagination that we are entitled to. That's our gift, and that's our birthright. Using imagination to create new things, new opportunities. And so, Calvin, did you guys do anything like that?
We did all that, and our
of
adventures. Yeah. You know, the whole sliding down the steps, right? We, on the side of the house, we had the little hills, right? You know, my mama knew karate, so she kicked everybody butt on the side of the house. We had a ball. We, of course, you know, when we grew up, we had 2 charter buses. So I used to go and sneak on the charter bus and sit in the chair and pretend to drive. Like we had...
like you do the RV now.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had so much exposure to adventure, and right, because you didn't have things, right? You didn't have these things as a distraction. Of course, you know, looking back at since we're going back and looking back at your childhood, we could fight and play the same day. Have a fight at 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. we playing together, right? You know, but again, the environment was different simply because parenting was different simply because the presence of men, in my opinion. Now y'all can argue later on, but the other part that about, you know, being creative, like we got to go to shovel snow, make money, come home safe. Right? We didn't, you know, that was just something that we got to do, right? What about what y'all do with Easter? So Easter, we get these suits. Oh, I got to tell this story. Right? So Easter, this girl, Nina Conley, I was crazy about her, right? Nina she was skinny, right? She was cute, right? She on the block. I want you to be my date for Easter. Now, every Easter, my mom would break her neck to make sure that we had a different suit, right? That everybody had a suit on. But on Woodward, right across from where the powerhouse is, used to be Robert Hall's. Robert Hall's haberdashery, you know, where you can get a suit.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so, you know, of course, I grew up from the gambling parties era, you know. So, you know, it's Easter. My mama gonna gamble Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? The week before Easter, her baby's got to have suits, right? And because she didn't go back to work, she hustled, right? And so it was not like what you see today, like sitting on the side of the road waiting on somebody to come give you something. We wasn't taught that. We was taught that go get it, you know, regardless to how everybody else was doing it. We was taught go get it, right? Go do your thing, make it happen. So when it came time, right? So at this point, my mom and dad was divorced. So my mom like, we getting some suits, right? So she goes to Robert Hall's. Everybody's got a new suit. Everybody, all of us, top to bottom. So we walk out the house. We on our little date. We walking up to Livernois in Norfolk. And when we get to Livernois in Norfolk, we headed toward Chippewa, the Chippewa market. We gonna go there, you know, you're gonna spend a little money on your date, right? You're gonna buy something and we gonna come on home.
This is the date.
This the date, right? Right?
Walking through the neighborhood.
Walking through the neighborhood in your Easter clothes.
Okay.
Right? And so we get to Livernois and it started to rain. Of course, I have an umbrella as a gentleman. So I give her the umbrella. Me, I'm not up under the umbrella. So I get all wet. My friend's mom, Monty, his mother, pulls up on Livernois and picks us up in the car. Right? And we get in the car. And we pull up to the house. And we get out the car. Of course, she gets out the car. Everybody's laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? My suit had literally shrunk.
Oh, no.
Right. So from the time of picking us up to the time of pulling back in the house, what number 5 blocks from my house to Livernois? Not even 5, right? So my suit, I look like the little Dutch boy. My little suit was shrunk up to here. Right? My mother was mad. You know what I mean? And it was... She took that suit back. Where y'all get these suits? Because we never had that experience. But my suit had a shrink on me. It was over. And so you almost had to cut me out the suit because they would have to pull the suit to get This is a straight true story, right? Robert Hall's haberdashery.
Was that what it was called?
It was the haberdashery. You go get your suits, right? But when you talk about fun and being adventurous and being able, we were allowed to be creative. So, of course, I'm on the block teaching dance routines and all of that, right? And people that know me from that time, they still laugh about how here I am teaching people dance routines, right? We gonna do this dance, like, come on, y'all gonna, right? And they was all a little younger than me, so I'm teaching them all these little dance routines. But guess where I get it from? My parents. My daddy was a gospel artist. My mama would co-wrote some songs. You know what I mean? So I get doing that from them.
Yeah, that's another important part of who holds the vision for you too.
Yeah.
And so, especially when you have those natural talents and abilities, in our household, we didn't have those types of gifts. We didn't have singers. I mean, we danced, but that wasn't because it was a gift. It was because you were one of the people that got taught the dance routine. So,
right.
But what my parents did hold the vision for was exploration. And a lot of my family members travel even today. So that sense of exploration and going outside of your neighborhood, going outside of your community, going outside of your city and your state, that was big in my family. Another thing that was big was reading. My family, and even still, my family's a family of readers, because my dad believed that you could go anywhere and do anything when you read a book. And so it unlocked that part of your imagination that gave you ideas. And my dad was he was history and he was science fiction. Those were two big things that were a part of his whole life. And my dad was a stargazer. You know, he used to, he had telescopes and we would look at the stars and find constellations, things like that. But to be able, and I'm not sure, this is a challenge for people who need a boost to their imagination. If you've never looked through a telescope, at least it's powerful enough to see the moon, I challenge you to do that. Because to be able to see off of the planet that you are on, to see the surface of the moon, is mind-blowing to me. Of course, I have my dad's telescopes now. I inherited those and learned how to use them. So when I have those moments, it is when you can conceive of the idea of seeing off of the planet that you're on, and you're standing and you're looking at in the sky, you're looking at the constellations, or you looking, I'm telling you, the surface of the moon is absolutely insane to have that thought. To be able to, I mean, that just blows me away to have that opportunity to see off of the planet just by using a telescope. And that kind of opened me up a lot to the interest in, science and what happens in the heavens and the constellations, all those things. It opened me up in a way that allows me to be free. I feel free when I look into the stars and the space and places and possibilities. And so in our lifetime, we had a chance to see people go to the moon. We had people circle the moon, put satellites in the moon, see other planets. You can see the rings of Saturn. You can look at NASA to see. They have a channel where you can see actually what's happening in the stars and in the galaxy and in our solar system. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so another way, and of course you can see some of that on PBS as well and the Learning Channel. But to open up your imagination, to be challenged by what you can see and what you can be and where you can go, is just it's an awakening dream. And a lot of things, predate our history, predate or at least my lifetime. Some things that were already set in motion that maybe some people in other generations didn't get a chance to see, that we have a chance to see in our lifetime. We got to see the first Black president in our lifetime.
You did.
We did, right? That was somebody's vision. They were holding the intention generations before us for that to be a possibility. We had the first female, a Black female vice president in our lifetime. In our lifetime, we got to see that. That's amazing, right? So I think that whatever, Calvin T. So, but imagination is a part of this process. And again, when we use our imagination, we can hold the vision for others, including ourselves. People may not have expected that they could be a millionaire or a billionaire, right? Somebody held that vision. It took some imagination to see yourself in this space. What was the what was his name that we watched on 60 Minutes last night?
Oh, you talking about the Rich, the agent?
Yeah, sports agent. Yeah, I mean, he talked about it. He was talking about he used to roll dice for money. Obviously, he was good at it because he talked about having $1,000 a day rolling dice. But the fact that he shared his story about he held the vision, and he called himself a hustler. But the bigger part of his story is that he was able to see himself differently. He was able to see his gifts and his talents differently. He was able to see other people's gifts and talents differently. He talked a lot about that. That's holding the vision. That's using imagination. That's a dream. That's a vision unfolding. He had a vision for his life. He had a dream. His father had a dream for him to be a better person, to be successful. He believed in him. We have to do more of that as parents. We have to do more of that as family, and we definitely need to do more of that as community.
Come on now.
So the next part of this this dream and the meaning that it has is how it allows us to see our own reflections. Sometimes in a dream, I'm not sure if this, if some of you have this experience, but sometime in my dreams, I'm the observer in my dream. Like I'm watching myself or I'm watching somebody else as an observer, not the participant. Although some of my dreams I am, I am the participant. Like I am engaged and I'm sitting here looking out of my eyes, looking at certain situations. But other times I'm actually looking at myself in those situations, which is a different type of reflective process that we're allowed to see about ourselves. So another challenge. My first challenge was around being able to get to a telescope and see off the planet. And I'm saying to see it for yourself. So it's awesome to see it on it's not NASA. Well, it is NASA too, but there's another program that you can watch where you can see what's happening in the stars and the heavens at any given time. You can also go to Cranbrook. They have a high-powered telescope that you can see beyond the moon for sure. It's a major high-powered.
To the listening audience out there, just know.
I'm sure you got something special to say.
Just know. She's not lying. These things are real. And she can most definitely introduce you to some new things, right? Things that you never thought. When she's telling you about Cranbrook and having that telescope, she's been there. And so don't take just a little bit of this, because a lot of times you introduce people to new information, new music, new things, new processes. They don't have the work ethic to go do that. They rather stick to, the bag of weed in the driveway, right? Because they put up these limitations. You explaining to them about a telescope and seeing the moon, they feel like if I smoke enough weed, I can see 2 moons, right? But the truth of the matter is, this is information for your family. Like, it's not just the fact that you had this vision, and what you're talking about. This is someplace randomly you can go, take your family, and introduce them to new information, which unlocks more cognitive behavior, positive behavior. Everything ain't soul food, fried chickens, 40 ounce in a joint. You know what I mean? Like, take yourself somewhere and go and learn. But lead, I always say this and I let it go. If I go somewhere, and I was sharing this with you earlier about environments, right? People already have their environments established. When you go to this environment, you don't go to the environment with ignorance and all of that other stuff, talking about I need to do this and I'm going to be me wherever I go. No. They already have an established environment for how they want their environment to exist. Your job is to go see, look, learn, and respect the environment, right? Imagine Tommy coming out of Oakland County. He come down to go get some. Man, I'm coming down. Vic over at Nuns. Vic gone, right? So Vic goes to Nuns. Like, man, y'all been talking about this Nuns. I'm gonna go check it out, right? Now he done been 3 times to Nuns, right? But my point is, he didn't go into Nuns. He went into Nuns' environment, respected the environment, bought the food and left. He ain't going to Nuns' environment, blow, disrespectful. You know what I mean? Nuns has a business. He walked into Nuns. This is out of his zone, zip code, area. But I'm going down here because he like ribs. And Nuns happen to have the best ribs in it. I don't care what y'all say. Nuns got the best ribs in the city.
Right.
In Michigan, if you ask me, but in the city for sure.
We're still exploring that.
Right.
We're still exploring
that, right? But my point is, don't go to people's environment bringing your environments and disrespectful. This is how you ended up on CNN and Fox 2 and all of that, right? Because you think that you can take that environment
acceptable
and go,
culture,
right, to somebody else's environment. You have to have respect for people's stuff, and people have to have respect for your stuff. You can't yell racism when you walked into an environment knowing that they provide a meal, a space, a place, everybody's quiet. You can't yell racism because you loud, disrespectful to the other people eating, causing all kind of problems. You can't yell, this is black. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So environments is key. So go learn about new environments and have respect for these environments that you go into.
Awesome. I agree for that too, because the other thing is we can sometimes interfere with our own vision, the opportunity to create, to use imagination. We can interfere with that by not being open, not being reflective, and missing those opportunities. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Calvin.
You're welcome, baby. I try to do my best all the time.
And so in that reflection, so we talked about past, present, and even future. What does it look like when you hold that vision or you have a dream? So some people who talked about the dream, right? One person that we know that had a dream, right? Who am I talking about?
Calvin Mann. In 1992, I was sitting in the hallway.
MLK.
Oh, okay.
Right.
He had a dream. Had a dream.
No.
Malcolm had dreams.
Yes, indeed. And so
Mother
the point
Teresa
is,
had dreams.
The point is that as those dreams unfold, people held the vision for that dream.
Did they?
Yeah. People held the vision for the dream.
Have we?
Yes, we've held the vision for the dream. Now, possibly what he had, the exact dream that he had, may not have come to pass as of yet, but we have made a lot of strides, and that vision had become one that we all invested in our own way. So I think that's, well, maybe not all people, but that many of us invested in our own way. We wanted to be able to have a culture and a community where all people were respected and valued and brought something and were recognized to bring something positive to the table. And there are spaces that have that.
I'm with you. I'm serious. You're right, baby.
I mean, that wasn't just, that was just one element of his dream.
Right.
We talked about what the future could be for his children and all children, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's up to us to hold that vision, hold that intention until it comes to pass. That's all of our responsibility if you honor what he laid out as that dream. And whomever laid out that type of dream, our ancestors laid out dreams for us, that we would be able to vote, that we would be able to read and write, that we would be able to create and invent, that we would be honored and respected and valued in the spaces that we occupied. So those are part of that dream and that vision that I hold the intention. I vote for specifically that reason. Whatever politics exists, I still vote because my ancestors fought for the right for me to vote. And they took beatings, they took discrimination, they paid a price. And out of respect for who they are and what they have done, I do my best, not just at the polls, but also in my community. That's why we are active, because that's our way to honor our ancestors who sacrificed so much for us to be here and to have the liberties that we do. That's important to me. So that's why I honor, and that's why I do the work that I do.
Contributions, right? Mm-hmm. Contributions. All cultures do it. All cultures. Everyone is here to extend a certain legacy and contributions to his culture. That's how it is replicated, right? That's how we get things done. Mm-hmm. To be clear about what you just said, it's very powerful. But when I take your identity, right? When I take your identity, it's very difficult. So that's why this was so important. Right? That's why 1992 to the day, we sitting here talking about vision, METV, right? Mm-hmm. There's
mobile mentoring bus.
But there's an extension to METV. Eventually, it will manifest, right?
Absolutely.
There's an
it
extension.
It has to.
But it's funny. It's real funny how people will tell you at the start of anything, you can't do it. And I would most definitely say, keep that to yourself. Can is a coward that never tries.
And we are the house of Can.
And we are the house of Can. And I've been clear about that. You have to label your households. You have to label your household.
Affirm it. So this last segment really is about challenging ideas. So it's two parts. So challenging ideas is one part, and then having your dreams and your vision and your imagination challenged. How do you withstand those the doubters? The doubters. People call them haters. How do you withstand that in the midst of your vision? Calvin, what advice would you give for that?
Doubters and haters. If you go to EMIYapparel.com, there's a T-shirt right there right now that says "Haters are steps, so climb." You have to take those things and build your way to your vision. People are always going to say those things. Man, come on, man. I could go into how many people told me, man, you need to do it this way. And man, you need to go this way. Man, and let me tell you something, man. If you go over here, right around the corner, it's a little bottle on the ground. You need to grab that bottle, bring that back, and I'm telling you, if you sprinkle it, it's gonna manifest everything you want, right? I heard it all. Hey, come on in here. If you purchase this, you're gonna make 12 times that amount on this. None of that stuff had anything to do with your vision, so you gotta know what's in your lane. And because of that, every time somebody throw an obstacle, step up. Don't stay behind it. Anytime somebody puts something in your place, step up. Every time they tell you what you can't, step up.
Yes.
Anytime they resonate and tear you down, say, "Cal, you doing this all wrong, man. You so and so and so." I remember I was called a male chauvinist by men. I was told, you must be gay. You doing all this for men. I was told, oh yeah. All you care about. I was told so many different things, right? That I knew the people that was telling me wasn't for me. Just the simple fact that you would tell me what I can't do automatically propels my steps up. You can't do that. Oh, okay. That's what's up. You can't do that. I can do anything. And I can be anything I want to be. And that's what I contributed to the people and the young people in my life from the age of 20. Don't, hey man, you ain't gotta listen to that. Them people, if you listen to them, they gonna, man, go for it. You see? And so, to what you were saying, it's facts. People are clear. People that can't do something will always tell people who can what they can't do.
For sure. And, and so for those who are faith walkers, you have to know what you know and keep pressing. Regardless, faith is not about what you see, because you don't see before you manifest unless it's the vision that you've been given to show you where to go. But the pieces and the places that you have to go, where faith will lead you, the doors that will open for you, you have to know and you have to go. That's not the time to quit. That is the time to press. And so I just want to also give this last bit of the challenge, which is challenging ideas. So we have to challenge what we currently see in the world. We have to challenge what we could see in the world, and we have to challenge what we want to see in the world. So that's the past, present, and the future. We have to keep pressing for that higher space, that next level, that big vision. Because if you were able to see it, whether it was asleep or awake, if you were able to see it in the vision state, in the dream state, in your imagination, it is meant to be. Now, having all the tools that you need, all the information that you need, may not be the case at that time. But if you stay true to the vision, to the dream, to the imagination, you can achieve that. And I'll tell you, I keep making reference to the mobile mentoring bus because that was my vision. I had a vision for this mobile mentoring bus and no way to make it happen. But we held the vision for it. We held the idea. We held the intention because we know what it can do. And so we did it. Those doors open, but we never stop visioning that idea. The same thing, and mark this day, because the same thing for our empowerment center. We want that place for families. We want that place for boys. We want that place where people can use that imagination and that creativity and open up the doors for the future. Open up the talent and the gifts and abilities that we have. We need a space to be able to do that. We need our boys to be able to recognize their genius, their promise, their brilliance. Our children are brilliant. They figure things out. They mimic. They grow. They create. They have the capacity to do it all and more than we can ever imagine for them. We just hold the intention that the doors stay open for them, that the life that we want them to have, which is safe, which is beautiful, which is open, which is inviting and safe for them, we hold that intention for them. And we do our part to make sure it happens. Calvin, I do want you to end our podcast today with that amazing quote about dreams.
Which one?
That Abu says at the end of the book.
Oh.
You can live live your greatest dream.
You can live your greatest dream. You can.
You can live your greatest dream. And that really what inspired our show today is about living your greatest dream. Not just one or two, all of them. Live your greatest dream. And I know our engineer has some things that she's about to manifest, and we hold in the vision and the intention for you to manifest those things. All right. We hold in that because, especially when you have gifts, talents, and abilities, you already got the raw materials. Keep building, keep growing, because this is how we change the world.
You can reach me at calvintman.com. You can reach her at yourinspiredjourney.com.
Or by phone at 313-759-7855.
You have watched another episode of Put Your Family First podcast by MATV. Peace.